Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching True Blood, Season 1, Episode 4.
Escape from Dragon House. We both think it's kind of weird. It should have just been called Fangtasia.
So we're fully in.
Mm-hmm.
We have the introduction of one of the True Blood great characters in the form of Maxine Fortenberry.
I feel like a cat on a hot tin roof. That's from a play.
That was my mistake.
I did that on purpose.
You are correct, though. Maxine Fortenberry is a trip.
I love Maxine Fortenberry. Maxine Fortenberry, you put that pie down right now.
That's right. I can't wait for that.
We did meet Hoyt in episode 2, but
Hoyt was in episode 1.
Well, sure, we did meet him, but this is the first time that he's actually given anything, any material. He's so cute. Okay. Our ongoing conversation of who we're picking of the guys in Bon Tom.
Hoyt. To a point. There is a point when Hoyt goes extremely downhill, like he's slalom skiing. Downhill.
Say that again?
It's like an event in the Olympics. It's called slalom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Slalom skiing.
He goes downhill.
Okay. I had no idea what you just said to me. I was like, are you having a stroke?
Nope. I said a real thing. It was just a real swing.
So we pick up where we left off with as you mentioned, we didn't say it in our previous recording, but the first of many great screams from Anna Paquin, Sookie Stackhouse.
Yep, when she finds Dawn.
Mm-hmm. Jason shows up. The nosy neighbor's there. The town kind of emerges.
Yeah.
We had this really great Greek chorus moment from Arlene, Renee, Maxine, and Hoyt.
Yeah.
And it's the first real time that I think we get a sense of any of those characters. Arlene's so funny. I forgot what a judgmental bitch she is.
Yeah.
Just period, but also especially in the beginning, because Carrie Preston brings such warmth, and also she's so great on claws.
Yeah.
That part of me, it's just it's like being reunited. I'm like, oh, and then actually she kind of sucks.
Actually, you're mean right now.
But
because she's talking to Sookie about it, and she's like, doesn't just even a little part of you think that maybe Dawn deserved it? And Sookie's like, no.
Because it's one thing, so it's semi-understandable the fear that humans would have of vampires.
Sure.
So it's one thing for her to cop an attitude with Bill, but to the judgment of Dawn, it's my God.
Meanwhile, I would be that woman from Independence Day. Vivica A. Fox's friend from the strip club who's just on top of the building being like, yeah, bitch!
You would be so dead.
I would be super dead.
We did meet them before, but we get more. This is where everyone settles in, I think, because we get Sheriff Bud Dearborn and Detective Andy Belfleur.
Andy.
So funny. I forgot liking Bud as much as I was, because he's...
Again, at the beginning, so many of these characters take a real nosedive.
Doesn't mild spoiler, but doesn't Bud just sort of peace out one day?
Well, he gets involved in something to do with pigs.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just kind of remember in season 4 or 5 or something, him being like, that's it.
Yep.
I'm out.
Bye.
And we never see him again.
Well,
it's so good.
William Sanderson is so fun in the role, too.
Because they think Jason did it because he's there. And they keep talking about, twice something is said very resolutely about Jason.
Yeah.
Tara says that she knows he's a good person. And I'm like, he's capable of being a good person. He is not currently a good person.
Yeah.
And
he's
then later
not actively being a good person.
And then later Sookie says something, or one of them says something about I know he's not capable of murder. And it's okay, I think he's very capable of it. I don't think he is going to, or is... It is coincidence that he is in both of these places at inopportune moments.
It's also what you said in episode 2, where it's Jason is not capable of the 3D chess involved in committing these murders and still somehow getting away with it.
There's no motive.
Yeah. There's no motive. And also
the MO doesn't.
If you're arguing that Jason is smart enough and like competent enough to commit these murders, but also dumb enough to be having sex with the women in order to leave his DNA around everywhere.
Yeah,
it's not happening in Jason's mind.
And so that scene is so funny when Andy's like, so how do you do it? Do you fuck him and then kill him, or do you kill him and then fuck him? Or do you do it at the same time, or you get off on it? And he's like, I kind of think you get off on it.
Sounds to me like it turns you on.
Tell me, is that how you do it? Kill him, then fuck him? Or do you fuck him and then kill him?
You fuck him without fucking him. That's what you do. Well, it ain't right.
It's so good.
And Bud laughs.
Because Chris Bauer is also so good in his role as Andy Belfleur. I love it.
So this was also a really solid episode for Tara. I am appreciating revisiting this because, as we've mentioned, we were kind of hard on her in the first episode. And she, again, though, she's a martyr. She loves this. She loves...
Because I would argue that is a symptom of having been raised by her alcoholic mother, where it's like she gets positive reinforcement when she is down in the dumps.
She lays it down for Jason. She lies for him. Well, it's so funny because this show is weirdly either just ahead of its time or just beyond its time, because a character like her and what she brings to the conversation with the racial commentary is necessary. Because I mean, I spent time in Louisiana at this point, and it is part of the culture.
Yeah.
The places, the divisions, and also the mergers, the places where things you kind of want to grab some of these people and be like, how are you not understanding that this doesn't make sense? Like the ways in which I know I'm speaking.
Well, I was going to say, I think in that sense, I think the character of Tara is a little bit ahead of her time, because what she says when she's like, I was with Jason all night, and the reason that we don't talk about it is because mixed couples are still like a huge deal.
She was like, I know everyone's moved on to vampires, but it doesn't mean.
But that's the thing. That's what I think makes her ahead of her time, is because Tara played that card very strategically, because she knew, like, Bud and Andy are like, they are the like epitome of white dudes who are like, I'm not racist. And it's like,
well, they don't think they are.
Exactly. And so it's like, but because they're in these positions of authority, and someone like Tara does exist, and they know other black families in the town, her throwing down that as a trump card is a very easy, quick way for them to be like, oh, well, no, then
to back off,
then whatever,
she does. She does it in this episode, and it works. And it's the kind of thing that I think if this show was 10 years later and had, I'm going to assume this is a largely white writer's room. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up after this and corrections corner next episode. But I do think that the writers, I think they were attempting to do the right things, but I think ultimately, considering how the show goes, especially with Tara, they ultimately just abandon Rutina. And it sucks.
And she hangs on for a long time. She tries super hard for a long time.
Because it's like something that I find so fascinating about racism is we talk about it. We talk about it like it's a disease, like an infection. And we also talk about it like it's a decision, like people wake up and choose to say or be racist. And so frequently...
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes, yes. But so frequently when there's this disconnect, especially with well-meaning but ignorant white people, they're like, well, I don't want to be racist, or I don't want to be perceived as racist, therefore I can't be.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's unconscious. It's subconscious a lot of the times. And so it's like, I appreciate what the show is attempting to do. I do not think they land it.
Not 100%.
Nearly enough for because by that point, it's like, if you're going to invoke this thing, then you need to do it. And so regardless, that's kind of, you mentioned in our previous episode that we're also kind of processing our thoughts and feelings about all this. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. But so Tara shows up, because she throws down a bunch of legal jargon, which is all true. She takes Jason.
She's like, basically, unless you're charging him with something, you can't keep him here.
And
they have zero proof to charge him with anything.
And before, when they were arresting him, he remembered he had the V on him. So he downs it. He bottoms up, and the devil did laugh.
The devil and Lafayette dancing down to hell together.
It is hellish. Ryan's performance in this is hellish. And I think that's my issue with Jason, how much Jason sucks, is I think Ryan's so charming that
So
we're
cute,
just willing to like, does he have like 0.35% body fat?
Oh yeah, it's very small. He's
It's
super
like-
fit.
It's like, like
Like
latex stretched over a
Like-
Greek statue.
like pool balls.
Yeah. But so he's having a bad time.
hmm
So, okay, I understood what was happening. I had a funny comment in this episode because he goes in the bathroom, and I understood that he had a, to use medical terms, raging boner. I didn't realize that he was at that
Yeah.
point
Oh yeah.
taking care of that boner. And so when he's like grasping,
Well, okay, it was the type of thing where it was like he was so aroused and he was so hard that it was like the whisper of air once he got his pants open was enough.
okay. And so he's like grasping for paper towels and toilet paper. And I was like, because I was in my mind, I'm thinking about it more practically, where I'm like, tuck it under the belt and just go about your day.
Put it in your waistband, you'll be fine.
This has to be a common occurrence for you, Jason. And so part of me, so when he was like gathering heaps of toilet paper, I thought he was stuffing. Like I thought he was, and I was like, how is drawing attention to your crotch going to help? And so I literally say to you, I was like, what? Why does he need so much toilet paper? And you pulled a Britney Spears from the X Factor where you were like,
It just came everywhere.
you were like, he just came so hard home. And I was just like, oh, okay. So anyways.
It's like from the Aziz Ansari. It's like jizz everywhere. It's like,
Jackson Pollock.
yeah.
So he goes home, tries to handle it. It's terrible. The blister on his thumb. And I remember at the moment being a little bit like, I was like, man, they should have shown us, and now I don't want it.
No.
It's almost as bad as Coleman in The Favorite.
Oh,
I'm so glad that they
we
did
don't
never
see
showed
the
us her foot.
Yeah.
Because it's somehow worse. But so anyways, Tara ends up taking him to the doctor. It's so funny because she tries to leave. He like needs her to stay. I don't know. It's the most that I get their dynamic.
Yeah.
And then we have this flashback to him rescuing her from her mother,
At the Stackhouse house.
to which we come out of it.
And Rutina Wesley is just like ear to ear smiling at
It's like
this
dreamy.
memory. And I'm just like, that's a happy memory for her. Her mom chasing her across town, hammered out of her mind, and talking about how she's gonna beat her ass. And then like little baby Jason just like sort of standing up for her. And I'm like, ugh, that is bleak.
Yeah. To say the least. There was some stuff with it. I'm telling you, the coroner's something. I don't remember what it is.
Well, the
But the
coroner's
coroner-
little assistant was at Fangtasia.
Mhm.
Sookie clocked him
Mhm.
in this episode.
It was very conspicuous, but he's such a non-entity
Yeah.
that all you recognize is that it's conspicuous. You don't realize
I
why.
feel like weirdly I feel like the coroner's little assistant is like in Dallas in season 2
Maybe.
when Sookie goes to Texas.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been 12 years.
Yeah.
So Sookie is trying to Gran asks her to listen in. They're trying
Yeah.
to clear Jason's name. Yada yada, plot happens. Because she's listening to everyone's thoughts at the bar, and Hoyt is only thinking about how pretty Dawn was and how he wished he'd talk to her.
Because now we'll never know what her voice sounds like, which
'Cause-
is sort of a little weird because she has to have taken his order at some point.
Sure. The sentiment is, though,
Yeah.
because he bet her voice sounded like angels mixed with parakeets.
Adorable. Little Hoyt Fortenberry.
I'll never know what her voice sounded like. I bet it sounded like angels and parakeets mixed together. Yeah.
White Fortenberry.
Okay.
And Sookie just hugs and kisses him, and we don't ever find out. Like it doesn't go beyond that, but so yada yada. She finds out about Fangtasia,
Yeah.
as she says it.
Fangtasia?
She's too hard. The judgment. I never realized how much judgment is a part of this show.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, she says it all judgy, and then Bill is like, you have to understand that most vampires are very old, and puns used to be the highest form of humor. I'm like, used to be. Fucking love a good pun.
Puns.
Yeah, I love a pun. Give me more puns.
So they go to Fangtasia, which Sookie is correct. It does look like a vampire bar if Disney World designed it.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious how tacky it is.
It's all red and black leather.
It's something that the show, I think, elevates beyond.
Yeah.
Because we do get, next season, we get Queen Sophie Anne, who, as I recall, we hated her every step of the way, but I think we like her in concept, but hate her in execution.
So I feel like the issue was that was when I didn't like Evan Rachel Wood. I might like Queen Sophie Anne better now.
We'll see, but the instinct to, again, mild spoilers, to not make her lair a hot topic is...
Yes, big thumbs up.
So, because even Pam and Eric in this, I think they're a little too on the nose. Pam, it makes more sense, the like corset dress and like
She's like the bouncer.
Yeah. But coming in hot from Kristen Bauer.
Yeah.
Sookie is in the bank. She also asks Sookie what she is, doesn't she? Or were we just not yet? Okay.
Yeah.
So
they all do at one point.
Blah blah blah. Longfellow, the bartender, he comes back. There's people. We get Eric. I don't think it's his hair. I think it's a wig. I was looking at it because remember I said you got to see the scalp.
But I feel like I did.
It has this like, it looked like it was a wig scalp because they put latex or silicone
underneath
on good wigs.
Okay,
but you can if it looks
so in that case it's a good wig right now. It's a decent wig.
It's a good quality wig.
Okay,
it's a bad wig for the actor and the character. It's styled like a Karen haircut.
Sure.
And that's what I can't abide by.
Yeah.
Because Alexander has had long hair before.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of a man with long hair. And so I remember wanting so hard to stan Eric with the long hair, but I don't think it ever...
It's not 100%. In total fairness, he only has the long hair for season 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the opening of season 2.
And they feel the need to plot-wise write it out. And I think they could just have had a haircut. I don't think...
It's not terrible. It's not a terrible plot reason.
As I recall, they kind of threaten us with an interview with the vampire where it's like... You have to, they feel the need to explain a change to the hair. Because remember, she tries to cut her hair off and it just grows back.
Yeah.
But then it's like, that just doesn't end up ever actually being plot fodder. Because Bill gets a haircut. So regardless, I will go to the grave defending the concept of Eric with long hair. But I will acknowledge that.
Well, because I feel like there is like a Viking flashback at one point. He's got long hair in that.
It makes him... It detracts from Alexander somehow.
Yes.
It makes him seem basic or lame in a way that is an accomplishment.
So I guess in that sense, you could, if you wanted to, it's not that deep, but you could argue that he is also putting on a front for these customers in the bar.
I would like that so much better.
Yeah, but it's
if he just like took the wig off at one point.
Well, yeah, we never really get there. So,
because there's a part of me where I'm like, was the problem that it's not long enough? Like, I don't know, or because because he has long hair in Tarzan, but it's really textured in a way that this was, like I said, kind of blown out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is terrible, and
the best of Eric is absolutely yet to come.
Because I remember watching this season and being like, I mean, he's okay, but and it was after that he becomes, because he was one of the like.
This really springboarded his career, and he was in the first Zoolander movie.
Because I knew him, because I remember. Well, I knew him because they did some big worldwide poll when I was like in 2004 or something, and it was like the most beautiful man and woman in the world, and it was he one man, and Aishwarya Rai was the most beautiful woman, and it like resonated with me, so I knew who he was. But
sorry, that is his headshot on IMDb right now.
I love leg.
Just so we know. And he's wearing those like sock.
I had the Rolling Stone cover and I haven't laid eyes on it in literal years, so I don't know if I still have it. I'm kind of bummed because it would be right here if I did still have it.
God, he did so much stuff in Sweden before he got Zoolander, and then he did so much more stuff. Oh, he's in Kill Your Darlings.
Google him, period, but look him up speaking Swedish. And because he doesn't do, anytime he's speaking English, he's doing it with like an American accent.
As Americanized as he can. But on Fallon, I think one time he spoke English like he does in Sweden.
He says,
awesome.
I am from Sweden, yes. My God. Is that your actual? That's not your actual accent, is it? It is. You talk like that? Yeah. Do you? Is that how people talk in Sweden? No, yes, it has a very different cadence in Sweden. We talk, the melody is very different.
And then there's also a video that I've seen a few times to completion where he's screaming at a soccer match.
Oh yeah, I also forgot he got this right off the heels of Generation Kill, which was also on HBO, and it's like about the Iraq War, and he's apparently amazing in that as well.
So he of course notices Sookie, and the plot got kind of sloppy with there at the end because she overhears the cop. That cop is so funny because it looks like a cop.
Very clearly a
cop.
It
looks like a cop at a vampire bar. It is hilarious, but there's supposed to be like a police raid, and it's very that's so Raven. Sookie's like,
sure. Yeah. I get it.
And she's like, the police are coming, and he's like, so we're not doing anything illegal. And she's like, there's a person in the bathroom, and like it's really questionable.
You are right. And then it's also not in enough time for them to do anything about it. They just escape and leave everybody else for like
they do just peace out.
Yeah.
And there's this really two things to talk about, but they come out. It's this very sweeping shot of them coming out the back door. And Bill, it's an effect, but it works. It's effective. Yeah. He picks her up with one arm.
Yeah.
It's
and then he puts a hand under her leg, but he picks her up first. Yeah.
How do we feel about the vampire effects? Because I'm very for against it.
Sure. Yeah. So, okay. Having seen so much vampire stuff, I think honestly my favorite depiction of like the powers and the like face and teeth vibe out of everything I've seen is the Vampire Diaries. That's my favorite of the like the actual vampire vibe of it. But I don't hate it here, and I think I
appreciate the swing, even though I think that it's a thud.
Yeah, so here's my 2 cents, is that I think basically it's good enough for the show because the show is so campy that the kind of ridiculous effects totally work within the confines of the show.
And so
but
much
like if this had been how they like did stuff on Buffy, I would be like, no, it's not it.
Well, because I was going to say so much of the show feels like a more recent, like a more current show. And that's one of the places that the 2008 of it all, I think, is more apparent because, again, pre-Game of Thrones. So HBO gave their projects money.
Yeah.
But they weren't throwing money at them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's that shot of Eric and Pam sort of gliding away. And it's like, I love that they did something.
Yeah.
I just think the thing barely works.
So they also get to a point where they're like super kind of skittery fast. And that's better. Once they get there, we're not there yet. Once they get there,
I think it's the skittery part that I'm thrown by. I think I wish it was more Matrixy. I think I wish it was more bullet time.
Smoother.
Because he does it in the first or maybe second episode with Sookie where he's laying down and he goes, and it's like, first of all, showing off.
Yeah.
That didn't need, we didn't need steps in between.
You're good.
But although it's believable Bill was actually peacocking there.
Sure.
I don't know.
Like, he is very like Toothless in How to Train Your Dragon.
And also, what do we think of the scene with the cop? Is it just to show? Is it to remind us, the audience, that he is still a vampire?
Potentially.
At no point is she on board with what's happening, and she was handling that scenario.
Yeah. Well. I don't know. I don't love that scene either. That's the thing about the shows. There are a lot of scenes that are just sort of like, well, that happened.
The show gives and takes.
It does. It does. It definitely does that.
So, I'm trying to think. I think that's all my notes. I think that's pretty.
Oh, well, Sam, go with gloved hands, goes into Dawn's place because he's her landlord, goes into Dawn's place and gets real sniffy and rolly around with her bed.
So both the him taking the gloves and escorting Arlene out and then sniffing her bed, both of those things are suitably
creepy.
Yeah. But it's the emphasis the production puts on it.
Yeah.
The slow push into the picture
Yeah.
of Sam and Dawn. And it's because I remember being like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And I didn't think he killed her at the point where he's rolling around in the sheets.
Yeah.
But it registers as a sex thing.
It does register as a sex thing.
And it makes so much more sense when we finally do find out what it is, but it's so weird. And
because you find out and then you're like, oh, that's why he was rolling around.
But it's the thing that we questioned it in the moment, but with the benefit of hindsight, it's the shit like that makes True Blood so good, that makes it what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I couldn't have predicted that scene being in here.
Exactly. But also, I do need to also put it on the record that he's just rolling around in Jason's leftovers on those sheets.
Well, 'cause I didn't even think about that. And so you said, that's also Jason's, and you paused, and I was like, etc.
Yeah.
Because they had gone 3 times.
Well, 3 times the morning before. Who knows how many times the night up? Well, I guess not even one full time.
No, and then he was tied up all day, and
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think Don had a lot of air conditioning.
Ugh.
Louisiana, no offense, we love you. It's a hellhole. It's an absolute hellhole. I remember because I was working there in summer, and I was working on a movie. We were in the parking lot. That was with the wardrobe, and you don't know sweltering.
Yeah.
Until you've been in a parking lot in Louisiana summer,
Yeah.
and that's when they explained to me that it's below sea level.
Mm-hmm.
So it is just
Swampy.
stewing.
Yeah.
It's just.
Oh, I lived there for 3 years.
I always forget you did. Yeah. Wow.
I was a child, but I remember that it's disgusting.
So, but the culture.
Yeah.
I actually mean that. That sounded the culture.
The culture is significant.
It's unlike many places in this world. So, all right. That was Leave the Dragon's Lair.
Escape from Dragon House.
Sure.
Close enough.
We'll be back after episode 5.
Bye.
I wanna do real bad things with you.
They were playing like a remix of Don't Fear the Reaper, and then they went into like heavy metal.
Yeah.
It was a lot.